guarantee that this is not continuing to this day. The fact that one bureaucrat says we're not doing it that way anymore doesn't give me a lot of comfort.
What kind of reception did you get at 11 o'clock this morning at the Capitol?
Well, just a minute. You want to say anything about the conversation?
Well, the mainstream media is reluctant on this issue, and in a sense, we're all victims of this, and I mean no disrespect. I understand that I'm dealt with because A, I'm a disgruntled employee, and B, as amazing as I find this was news to me, I'm a communist. Republican legislators have been told that I'm a communist, that what motivates me is a desire to destroy the HMO industry to achieve single-payer health care. Now, I thought Senator McCarthy was dead, but apparently. Now, before you laugh too hard, here's the problem Mr. Quist has. I'm a communist. Mr. Quist is an ultra-right-wing neo-fascist. Because it just depends who your audience is. You're talking Democrats, that's what he is. You're talking Republicans, I'm a communist. The one argument that isn't made is that any of this is not true. Okay? There's never an argument about this. The argument is about the character of people raising the issue. And if that's the only argument you ever hear, you know there's something wrong. Okay? Because even if I was a communist, and by the way, I'm an NRA life benefactor member, which completely destroyed my membership of the Communist Party. They don't like that. Even if I was, it doesn't change the fact that this is unacceptable. And so the reception at the Capitol wasn't that great because, you know, this is viewed as the message that's out there now is that we have found each other. You know, the two disenchanted, disenfranchised people are interested in the same issue, therefore there's something wrong with the issue. When in fact, lots of people are interested in this issue. Single-payer advocates are interested in this issue. So is the North Metro Tea Party. And once again, the only thing they have in common is either one of them want fraud. So, you know, you have to understand that a lot of times when you end up dealing with some media bias, it's just a fact of life. We're all human beings, including people in the media, and you have to evaluate it. But that's why you need to think independently. That's why you need to look at this stuff and decide for yourself. Because if you pick up reports like this, and you turn to pages 2, and it says, to the extent health plans participate in the commercial market, as well as state public programs, it was not possible to determine if administrative expenses and investment income was being properly and fairly allocated among an HMO's line of business, and it's all tax money that they're talking about. You can't tolerate this. Because a group of third graders could run this better than this.
This is the fourth or fifth time David will have heard this from me today, and that is, I want you to know David is much more charitable than I am. The fact of the matter is, for instance, Minnesota Public Radio has as its very large benefactors Health Partners, UCare, etc. Okay. The fact of the matter is, people in the media have an interest in protecting the Dayton administration from proof of fraud. Okay, think about politically, where does this go if the Commissioner of Human Services is obviously guilty of fraud, and that many billions of taxpayer dollars are at stake? Okay, notice that well, you'll notice that, let me put it this way. When I was researching this, I was very interested in the attitude of the Star Tribune. The Star Tribune has always viewed itself as the gatekeeper of Minnesota media, rightly or wrongly. Okay? The Star Tribune has a couple of editorials on this that aren't bad. But guess what? Not a single news story. And so I wonder, why do you editorialize about something that you won't cover in the news? Well, the news stories are being spiked. That is, they aren't being printed. but there is somebody on the editorial staff who believes that the story has to come out. So the story comes out in the editorial pages. Doesn't that strike you as being kind of strange? And so clearly there's a lot of self-interest involved here. And it reminds me of one of the things I often say, which is if you don't believe in original sin, get involved in politics and you will become a believer. It's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to deny. So, so we deal with difficulties there too. On the positive side, today we have the internet, which allows us to get media out, information out in a way that bypasses the mainline media. And we have other ways of getting information out. Town hall meetings. I just think, and I don't know what David here is able to do, but I could imagine a town hall meeting in Mankato on Medicaid fraud, put David up as the speaker, and I think the Tea Party might be interested in something like that. And I wonder if a lot of citizens might not be interested in something like that. It's got to be, I mean, I'm convinced it's got to be the grassroots that are going to turn this around. Because when the government is up, and we, as David says, we have this staff report that essentially says the state of Minnesota is involved in fraud. Okay? We not only have the fox guarding the hen house, we've got the fox eating the chickens. And there aren't going to be any chickens left. So, so let's think about, all of you think about what we should do, but you know, maybe a town hall meeting on Medicaid fraud in Mankato would be in order. And I don't know what David has his agenda, but I think it has to be citizen power kinds of things, because I don't think Kathy Sharon is going to lift a finger. Okay, I'm not saying don't talk to her. You should. So I'm going to take, I think, maybe one more question, and then we'll break up. Joe, you've got a question.
Yeah, no, I represent all these companies. I'm an insurance agent, and several fields here come to play. One, if I know about this, what's my liability? Two, what the state of Minnesota is doing is we're switching basically what they're requiring. If you want to sell health insurance, you have to go through a 2-hour course now. And if you don't go through the course, you're not going to be able to sell the new insurance that's going to be in the state in 2014 when they're going to do the audit, which just sort of stuck in my craw there. I mean, as an insurance agent, where does this tie into me? I mean, 'cause
That's actually a great question. Let me repeat something I said at a legislative hearing in the state of Minnesota on Valentine's Day this past February 14th. These companies that I'm talking about, Blue Cross, Medica, UCare, Health Partners, have tens of thousands of employees. Okay? And by the way, our Department of Human Services has 7,000 employees. This has nothing to do with 99.99% of them. The overwhelming majority of these people go to work, do their job, do their thing. What we're talking about here occurs at levels you can't see from where we are. Okay? This involves a manipulation of an actuarial rate. And the reason that it's done is because they didn't think anybody would ever detect it. It is, in fact, screwing around with a problem of differential calculus. And the logic behind it was, even if somebody figured it out, they couldn't explain it, and even if they explained it, no one would care. What does it mean to you? Well, it means to you that the price of insurance is based for your customers on assertions made by these companies as to what they're spending on care. And I'm going to offer you a story and let you decide for yourself. Several weeks ago, I was at dinner talking to a young man who had had hernia surgery. And he was telling me this story that after the operation, he had to go, as all patients do, to go have the thing checked to make sure it healed up right. Common procedure. His doctor was going to be out of town, said, go down the hall to this other doctor. He's a great guy. He'll take a look at it for you because I'm going to be out of town. This person told me that he went to the second doctor, took a look at it, said, 3-minute visit. It's great. You're fine. Go in peace. Next week, a bill comes in the mail, $500. Okay? He calls home, the guy goes, well, I'm not in your network. Okay, I'm outside your network. He goes, well, my doctor didn't tell me that. Yeah, I didn't know that. And the doctor said to him, listen, how about this? Why don't you pay me what the insurance company would have paid if I was in the network? And this person said, that sounds fair. What do I owe you? And the doctor said, $20. Okay? So here's the question. If the doctor gets $20 for doing that, and that's the fair market value of the service, that's what insurance companies purchase it for, and that's what it can be had, and I say this from my perspective, why am I paying $1,300 a month for a high deductible health plan for my wife and I? Because the premium on that plan is rated as if I was getting first dollar coverage, when in fact I'm not. What I'm getting is catastrophic insurance rated as first dollar coverage. And what we're doing to the federal government makes that look like Sunday school. Okay? Because we're telling the federal government, not only does that guy get $500, but that greedy so-and-so makes us actually pay him $600 or $700. It's outrageous. We need more federal money. But at the end of the day, he gets $20, and your customers pay what you know they pay in premium for these policies. And what is the true cost of health care? It's a secret.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming and take seriously David's advice to talk to your legislators. And I think a lot of us want to talk informally as we can about where do we go from here and what do we do. Meanwhile, my hat's off to David for his work, and I think we should at least give him a good round of applause. It is so good to know a true American patriot. So thanks for coming, and we have work to do, and let's talk about